Welcome to Military Broadcast Radio.
Every view, every listener, and every share helps our mission.
Every donation helps keep Military Broadcast
on the air. Every donation makes a difference. Thank you for your support. mvradio.us.
Welcome to TruckerMouth, the podcast that gives you real insight into the trucking industry while providing a platform for your voice to be heard. Whether you're behind the wheel, managing logistics, or just passionate about the industry, this is the place to build confidence, share experiences, and stay informed. Join us as we tackle the challenges, celebrate the wins, and drive forward.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to my just broke my chair. Freak. Hello, everybody. Welcome to my underground studio. I'm TruckerMouth, and we're back on the road. Oh, we had some bad weather around where I live, man. It ripped down a part of a fire hall, an old fire hall, and it ripped the roof off of a school up on the hill across the river here. Oh, man, I have to look at this later. Anyhow, thanks for tuning in. Today's show is about, you know, what it was going to be the trucking, the bottom line. It's just at the bottom line. I mean, what you're making, what you're bringing home, what you're spending is a whole lot compared to what you're actually netting, bringing home. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the second part of my show first, and because I found out some things, and it's the hardships at sea. Okay, hardships of being at sea, being a crewman at sea, servicemen or women at sea, and a lot of it's about the USS Abraham Lincoln. Okay, and that's all in the news now about the long deployment of the USS Abraham Lincoln, and there's just some things I found out, and I want to highlight on that. The USS Abraham Lincoln left San Diego, California on November 21st of last year, of the end of 25. It deployed November 21st of 25 out of San Diego again. All right, for a standard Indo-Pacific cruise. Okay, they were just going out there on the regular cruise with their battle group. I'm sure the air wings to get their flight times in and practice and all that. It wasn't a wartime situation. Well, come January, they were thrown into this Iranian war and sent over to the Middle East to go to wartime in a wartime situation. Now, these servicemen and women, okay, they were looking forward to these ports. The Westpac has all kind of good ports, and they're probably going to stop in Singapore or Japan. Philippines was a stop out there. As a matter of fact, the guy I was on the USS Coral Sea with, he used to be on the Midway. He's no longer with us. God rest his soul. Troy, you're a good guy. He married a girl from Japan. That's who killed him. That's who ended his life. But anyway, so they were looking forward to going to these ports, and that, you know, a standard 6-7 month cruise. And come January, like I said, they were thrown into a wartime situation. They had to go over to the Middle East with the Iranian war. So the USS Abraham Lincoln is replaced by the USS George Washington. Okay. As of now, it's been to sea 275 days, according to what I looked up. It's been at sea for 225 days. And like I said, this is hardships at sea. The hardships at sea, man. It's not a luxury cruise when you're out there. Especially not for these people, these servicemen and women of the Abraham Lincoln, man. So 275 days at sea still, and it's on its way back. U.S. top commander, U.S. Navy Admiral Brad Cooper visited the Lincoln because of mental health and morale issues. Well, yeah. I'm sure there's mental health and morale issues. It's just that, and don't get me wrong, when you're in the Navy, you're on a ship, that's what you signed up for, to protect the country and go to war. But, nevertheless, being deployed for a cruise, it looks like a lot of fun, and set into a wartime situation is two different things. When you're in a wartime situation, you're in I just had them on my, what do they call it? Battle. General quarters. I'm sorry. I have things that I should have wrote down. General quarters. When you're in general quarters, everybody's, you have teams that everybody's manning a fire hose or getting ready to shore something in case a missile would hit the side of the boat or something, and it's a lot of work. Yeah, so you're it's no fun. Now, I was never in a wartime situation when I was on the Coral Sea, but we simulated it with these general quarters drills all the time. So 2 service members attempted to jump overboard during their 260 days out at sea. 2 service members tried to jump overboard. Wow. They must have really had some issues, man. And morale issues. When you're on a carrier, you have, this bothered the hell out of me. You're bunked up 3-4 bunks high, 4 foot, 3-4 foot apart from 4 more bunks that are bunked up, and you got some lockers over in the back. And right there's 6-8 people, 6-8 men trying to get out and get ready. And you got to do a lot of compromising with people. Got to get out of their way, let them go first, this and that. So you don't ever want to wait the last minute because you might be out of luck. Not only that, when you're out at sea, you have 4,000 or 5,000 people in them big carriers now. We only had 3,000-4,000 on Coral Sea, a smaller carrier. But I was still a lot with Air Wing on there. When we were in port, it wasn't. But when you're out at sea, you have the whole Air Wing, everything like that. And a lot of the Air Wing, and the Air Wing is the brown shoe, and the ship's company is the black shoe. And a lot of them have different points of view on things, and just the old competition between the two. I'll put it that way. Because the Air Wing comes aboard the carrier, and if your ship's company, you're on the carrier, and they come here and act like they're taking over or something. But nevertheless, then you have a whole lot of people with a lot of different backgrounds. And there's a lot of close quarters living and working on a carrier, man. Especially in the chow halls and the bathrooms and stuff like that there. And a lot of times, your bathroom to your berthing area, something might happen. Plumbing wise or something like that, where you can't use that one. You got to go to another one down the steps, out on the deck, down the steps, down another deck to use their bathroom for showers and that, because something might be wrong with your bathroom. And this is just, the air conditioning goes down. This is just things that I've seen. But these newer ones, maybe didn't have that. Maybe a little bit, but not like we had. It was an old carrier. CB-483 is decommissioned now. But nevertheless, these guys are okay. Let's get going again. Sorry. Among the Navy's 11 aircraft carriers, Lincoln has the lowest mental health cases. The USS Abraham Lincoln has the lowest health cases. Not anymore. Not anymore. You got people jumping overboard. Everyone's really suck. My heart goes out to you people. Anybody's family, anybody who's listening to this, and one of their family members out on the Abraham Lincoln, get a hold of me. Call MBR up. Get a hold of me. Give me a comment, man. I'd love to talk to you. I'd like to hear your side of things on the boat. Yeah, like I said, these guys had all these ports they were going to hit and have fun, this and that. Well, when they got deterred over to the Middle East war with Iran, there was no port of calls no more. They hit Let's see. They hit Guam and Aman. Okay, Lincoln ported in Guam December 2025, and again for one in Aman. So Guam, okay, America has a base there, a big Navy base there. Guam. Gitmo, I guess it is. So I'm sure they found, a gin mill there. They can have a good time, this and that. Aman's predominantly Muslim. Aman's predominantly Muslim. So I don't think they had too good a time in Aman. I never heard anyone important in Aman, but see, Aman's one of them countries with Iran. They control the Strait of Hormuz. I never heard anyone going to Aman. Wow. Senator Richard Blumenthal said in a letter to Pete Hegseth, which is the Secretary of Defense, it was the longest continuous days at sea between port calls in Navy's history. The longest continuous days at sea before these people get off the boat and enjoy themselves or anything like that. Call loved ones. Well, I guess you got cell phones out there nowadays. They can use their cell phones, I imagine. But being that there's armament aboard, they might not allow cell phones to. Because I had a CB radio, a 4-channel CB walkie-talkie. I had, and when I was using that overseas and on the boat, matter of fact, we might have been in port. In port, this officer come up to me and says, "Excuse me, what are you doing?" So, talking on my CB. He goes, "Well, we have armament aboard, and that could detonate it with this frequency." Now, I don't know. I think we probably were at sea when he did this because I didn't know the officer or anything like that. But I said, "No, this CB radio is gonna." He goes, "Well, they work on frequency, so I don't know. They wouldn't let me use it anymore on the boat while we're at sea or while there was armament aboard. Forget how it went down." But yeah, that's a long time between port calls, man. Especially when you're looking forward to going to these places. Now, like I said, when you're in the military, that's what you sign up for, but it's still rough. And not taking nothing away from ground troops, nothing like that. They got it terrible. They got it bad. I think a deployment overseas already was like six months at a time. That's pretty much what the med cruise is, or a year. I think if you go over to a war situation, I think you're over there a year with the Army and all them. Navy longer for all I know. I do a lot on the Navy. So I was in the Navy. But another sailor went overboard when Lincoln was recovered in an hour later. He was out in the water an hour before they got him. You fall off a huge carrier and you're out in the ocean for an hour. Man, he's lucky to be with us. He's lucky to be alive. Oh boy. Yeah, he's lucky to be alive, man. Must be. So, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth reported that the reports were completely misrepresented. Completely misrepresented. So, what he's saying is a lot of the claims that people you hear about were false. And I for one believe that that the claims about there it is. The claims about the bad food, no, I don't believe that. I'm sure they got on reps for food, this and that. I'm sure they had that. I think that was just people trying to really make it look bad. I would think that was not true, but the rest of it, I'm sure it is. Like I said, they're at general quarters all the freaking time, and those sound like a good time to me. Hell, we went on the cruise, the med cruise that time. I did a med cruise. Longest we were at sea was like 40 days, and that was going over. And then it was an older carrier, conventional carrier, There was no war going on or anything. So we did our flight ops and that. We're actually like 30, 40 days going over. And then it was 2 weeks. We're back in Naples for a week. We're out 2 weeks. We're in France. We're in Marseille for a week. Back a week. Out 2 weeks. We're in Spain for a week. I mean, we had it. It was nice. It was all right. I still wanted to come home, but I hit some good ports in them 6 months, man. I got a bunch of pictures. So when we come back, we'll take a little break. When we come back, more on hardship at sea, no luxury cruise.
Signed up to fight for freedom. What a price you had to pay. Picture in a helmet, missing family every day. Your Lady Liberty, dressed like G.I. Jane. Some scars we'll never see. She will never be the same. She's a mother, she's a daughter. She's a sister and a friend. Standing tall in that uniform until the very end. When Uncle Sam called, she signed that line to serve. 'Cause you can't spell hero without her. On that old dusty base with the meadows that shine, she's been to hell and back for the stars and the stripes. Your Lady Liberty, dressed like G.I. Jane, and some scars we'll never see, and she will never be the same. She's a mother, she's a daughter, she's a sister and a friend, standing tall in that uniform until the very end. When Uncle Sam called, she signed that line to serve. 'Cause you can't spell hero without her. Yeah, yes. For the ones that didn't make it, we will pause and then we cry. We can still see their smile in every sunrise. She's a mother, she's a daughter, she's a sister and a friend, standing tall in that uniform until the very end. When Uncle Sam called, she signed that line to serve. 'Cause you can't spell hero without her. 'Cause you can't spell hero without her.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at mbradio.net.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the TruckerMouth Show, on the road show with TruckerMouth. Topic today is life at sea. No luxury cruise. You're at sea, especially for the servicemen and women of U.S. Abraham Lincoln. And I talked about some of the things that happened there with them. And said the reports were completely misrepresented. Maybe some of them, but no, not all of them. I'm sure it was really trying, man. I'll tell you. Like I said, there's a lot of different personalities out there. There's a lot of different, backgrounds of people, and you're real close quarters living in a carrier. Even a real big, huge one, because it pack more people in. So after all this, what them servicemen and women did, our President-elect Donald Trump dismissed families' concerns about the Lincoln's deployment, saying it was not nearly long enough. Who the hell is he to say that the damn cruise wasn't long enough? When people are out there right now, supposed to go for a 6-7 month cruise, turns out to be better part of a freaking year. Who the hell is he to say? I'm a Trump supporter, and TruckerMouth putting the hammer down on Donald Trump saying that bullshit. I put the hammer down on Donald Trump. The prick saying that about the people. All right, I guess they should be home. The Lincoln should be touching ground. I guess going back to the West Coast there, back to San Diego. Probably they'll go to the yards when they get back. They'll go into the shipyards. Well, they'll go to their port, then they'll go to the shipyards for everything they check up on after they go on cruises. They go to the shipyard and get checked out and repairs on and that. So we got another boat here. Another ship, the USS Navy destroyer, spent 4 days at sea without power in the South China Sea. 4 days at sea without power. And that was a USS Benfold, an Orly Burt class guided missile destroyer. South China Sea is balls hot, hot as balls there. And they went without an engineering casualty with a generator, caused a power outage. 4 days leaving sailors without potable water, galley service, toilets, or air conditioning. And that's just to name a few. But then, and that I'm sure that sucked. I'm sure that really sucked. 4 days at sea without power. It occurred July 24th. Destroyer was towed by contracted tugboats to Subic Bay, Philippines on July 28th. So they got towed to the Philippines and being worked on. Got it worked on, and this is this. Now, these guys were compensated, okay? No injuries to the crew who demonstrated resilience, grit, professionalism, and unwavering devotion. These guys did. So for their 4 days at sea, they're getting a medal or something like that. I don't know. So after arriving, the ship's crew received food and contracted lodging off board. Contracted lodging means they're putting up a motel. And that's nice. And then they were relaxing then. Got to put them in a motel. Probably here a week. And they got, like I said, that was the gist of their cruise there. The worst of that. That's the worst thing that happened to them. Nothing like the Lincoln. The guys in the Iran Lincoln ought to get a medal. I guess they probably will. They ought to get a medal. And for Donald Trump to say, well, the deployment wasn't nearly long enough. And who the hell is he to say that? He's sitting in his White House, messing around with interns. But their deployment wasn't long enough. All right, what'd you do, rich boy? And I'm a Trump supporter. You made a comment like that? So you have to arrive in the ship. Okay, yeah. All repairs prior to the ship's berth, shifting. Yeah, all repairs prior to the ship's berthing shifted for fuel over a week later on August 7th. So the berthing, I wrote this is my handwriting. All repairs prior to the ship's berth shifting. So they had a problem with when they took on fuel. It sounds like they had for fuel a week later on August 7th. It sounds like they had a mishap with fueling. The the ship is lean or something, what it sounds like. I don't understand that. Yep. All engineering, combat systems, and crew support were functioning normally by ships left Subic Bay August 8th. So everything was fixed. Everything was ready to go by August 8th. Functioned normally by ships left Subic Bay August 8th. The engineering mishap is under investigation. And they just hope it, except the USS Benfold, a guided missile destroyer. So life at sea, there's no luxury cruise, man. There's more going on out there and people know. But our cruise was, that was cake. And I still was glad to hit port. We had all that going on. I still was glad to get back in Norfolk. I hated Norfolk, and I was glad to get back to American soil. Egypt, we stopped in Egypt, Alexandria, Egypt. Egypt's horrible. Anyone want to go to Egypt? We've seen the pyramids and all. We did that. And we stayed overnight because I signed up for one of these tours. We stayed overnight at they put us up in, we paid for this. We paid for this tour. Put them up in these motels at the airport. So at the airport, we could get alcohol, beer with alcohol in it. Because it's a Muslim country, you just can't find alcohol. Muslims don't drink alcohol or eat pork, I don't think. I love eating pork and I love drinking. So I don't want to ever go there again. But I've seen the pyramids and had some good times there. Some guy on a camel, he was paying, well, we were tourists over there, so he was paying to get up on the camel, and he takes you out and takes a picture of you, and then you pay him for having a picture of you on the camel. So I get up on this camel. Wait a minute, did I get up on the camel? No, I didn't get up on the camel. We just man, I can't remember. I lost TruckerMouth lost brain cells, man. But you take a picture of you, take a picture of him, and then you with the camel. No, I didn't get on the camel. That's right. But we walked way out in the middle of nowhere, and then he held his hand out. So I gave him a little bit of money, and he acted like he started yelling and hackling off the back, and I don't know. I started getting scared. But yeah, we did that, and man, went to Spain, Marseille, France. Oh, that's a cool town. Marseille, France. I got pictures of all this. We had a great time. We lost power a little bit, this and that, but we did general quarters drills. Other than that, I worked in an airframe shop. I was an aviation structural mechanic above the on the Coral Sea. I was ship's company. I lived on the boat. That should have stayed in. Looking back, hindsight's always 20/20, man. Should have, could have. You know the old saying, "Que sera, sera." So, yeah, man. So, like I said, life at sea, no luxury cruise. You got to work. You got to work your shop, whatever your job is. We were aviation structure mechanic, worked on the structure of the aircraft. Other ones were AME, aviation support equipment. That's the little trucks up there to pull the things around the flight deck. They're always breaking down. And now I understand they combined the two rates, AMS and ASE. Or ASM and AS, aviation support. I guess ASE. Yeah. So they combined them. So, okay, so I did the whole show on my one subject. I'll get to the main part. And next week we do it's the bottom line of trucking. Is that exists at the bottom line, and I'm going to report on that and inform people on all the expenses and everything that an owner operator, especially I was geared toward owner operator, has to pay out. in his business. A lot of overhead, a whole lot of overhead, not a lot left. So, all right, buddy. End of the road. Thanks for coming along on the road with TruckerMouth.
Hi, I'm Beaker with Military Broadcast Radio TV. We're your virtual MWR, bringing veterans radio, podcasts, gaming, animation, 3D printing, and a community that never leaves you behind. Download our Roku or mobile app today.
Wisdom to share if you listen this week, so pull up a chair and stay for a spell. We're heading down a trail where good stories dwell.